You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a Friday where we have got a big one on deck, a big weekend on deck across the Pittsburgh sports landscape scene, I guess is what I'm looking for there. A couple big games at Acrisure Stadium. A backyard basket brawl that went my way quite comfortably last night. All right, that's it. Real quick off the top, we'll get it out of the way. I mean, Paul Skeens won a Cy Young this week. College game day is in town.
Yeah.
But Matt, here in Western
Hens
Pennsylvania.
are overseas or something too, right?
I actually think they're like playing right now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's in Sweden.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
yeah, with the time change, I actually think that they're playing literally
all sorts of stuff.
Literally right at this second. All sorts of stuff. Pittsburgh, maybe the epicenter of the American sports world this weekend. Of course, game day in town and a big one at Acrisure on Saturday. But in this town, in this country, doing my best Jack Nicholson, nothing is bigger than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing is bigger than the National Football League. And Matt, this is a big one for the Steelers on Sunday. I know we've been saying that for the last 3 weeks.
And they're all big.
Packers game felt huge.
Sure.
Colts game felt huge. Chargers game felt huge. But in the scope of where you're at right now, with kind of a fork in the road, season can go one of two ways. With what this means for the divisional and the AFC playoff outlook, this is a massive one. I mean, not only for the Steelers, but for the Bengals on Sunday as well.
It could be a lose-or-leave title match for the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, well, not for the Steelers. So, yes, some of it's just math. You know, it's just standings. This is a huge game. It's a divisional game. We're getting deep into November. These teams aren't guaranteed playoff spots. The AFC's kind of in flux right now. So, yes, I mean, just that is absolutely true. But I also think more than anything that, that isn't just fact is Steelers offense has to get back on track. And
1,000%.
This is the easiest defense in the league to do that against. And I think next week, you got the Bears next week. They're also kind of at the bottom of the list defensively. So, they can
score some points. You're going to have to score some points to beat
similar.
that team
We're going
to
say a lot of the same things next week. You're going to need the offense to come up big, not just control the football and don't make mistakes. I mean, you're going to need to put up points in these next 2 weeks and show a lot more signs of life than you did against the Chargers, and really of late.
And you and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, and, I do on Fridays, I do a quick hitter segment with Chad Tyson on DVE.
Yeah.
Just like a quick 3 or 4 minute. He'll rattle off a bunch of questions for me.
Boom, yeah.
3 minutes, 4 minutes, a little hit on DVE. And one of the things he asked me was, what's your kind of temperature gauge? What's your concern level on the offense and on Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
And I said, right now I'm concerned, but I'm not panicked. I said, but ask me at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon, and I think it's going to be, okay, hey, they got back on track. They took advantage of a bad defense. They could still be the offensive unit that we thought they were maybe back in September and October. Or it's going to be, now you can count kind of the amount of straight underwhelming performances, and it was against a bad defense.
Right.
And here comes the toughest portion of the schedule, maybe not necessarily Chicago, but you've got Buffalo and Baltimore twice and Detroit and some really tough matchups.
And hopefully playoff matchups after that, right.
This is another one of those, Matt, I can't remember what game. It might have been the first time that the Steelers played the Bengals that I said this to you. But this is almost a game where if you and I were sports reporters, if we did what the Dales of the world did and the Jerry Dulacs and actually wrote Chris Halleck and Chris Adamski actually wrote articles and covered the game and things
covered the team
in a reporter standpoint.
Yeah.
I could, if that was my job, I could almost today or tomorrow, before I even get to the stadium on Sunday, write up 2 different stories. The narrative of if the Steelers win, the season's back on track, you're still in first place, you got plenty to play for, Or the narrative of if the Steelers lose, it's coming unraveled again here.
Oh, yeah.
And now they got one foot in the grave. I mean, this is a real narrative.
I mean, losing 4 out of 5, we know how that'll go around
You
here.
already know what the message is going to be, win or lose, positive or negative, what that narrative is going to look like around 4:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, and if they only put up 13 points against this defense and struggle to get first downs again and can't convert on third, like, whoa, yeah, this could be the beginning of the end on that side of the ball.
Has no turnovers, only 1 or 2 sacks like they had last time against the Bengals. You lose the turnover margin -2 again.
Yeah, or Chase and Higgins blow up again and you have no answers for Flacco's passing game and you don't hit him at all. And, I mean, Chase Brown has a decent day. It's like, oh, boy, there's big problems. Now, however anyone reacts on Monday will probably be far too much.
Sure.
But that's what we do, and that's what this league is all about, right?
And you know what? This is another thing I talked about with our buddy Chad Tyson on DVE. He kind of asked me something of like, how do you stop Jamar Chase from wrecking this game? And I said, you stop Chase Brown.
Yeah.
You stop the run game.
Yeah.
You make them one-dimensional. You make them predictable. You make them have to go to Chase and Higgins and have no other options, no other run game to lean on. This is another one of those. We can say the same thing every week, but the battle in the trenches feels especially important Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, no question. And I'd love to see the Steelers have a lot of success on the ground. Well, I often bring up my Thursday show on when we do Fridays, and Merrill Hodge had a great point, as he often does. Everything's bad about this defense. I mean, it really is. I mean, but
Cincinnati's defense.
Cincinnati's I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But their defense of outside runs, like off-tackle runs, is shockingly bad. I mean, and it makes all the sense in the world.
But now they've traded a veteran linebacker in the last couple of weeks.
I say these young linebackers that really don't read things well. Safeties are really poor tacklers. The guys that get to the edge that should be your free-flowing guys are particularly bad. But there's nothing on defense you have to avoid when the Steelers have the ball. And where I'm saying this is I'd also, not only do I want to see the offense get on track, but I want to see the running game kind of rule the day and have 34 minutes of time of possession.
Yes.
And, you got to get back to churning out physical first downs,
If you're asking me just on a box score, on a recap sheet, what are going to be the biggest indicators for a Steelers victory?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, turnover margins always towards
the top. Of course, but there's some
right?
obvious that we talk about every week.
But right now, I'd just love to know I would love to be able to be a genie and look into the future. There was a TV show back in the day. I forget what it was called. Tomorrow's Edition or something like that.
Okay.
It was a popular TV show back in the day where the main actor, he got tomorrow's newspaper. He got the newspaper a day ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
And so he would go around and save people's lives and stop tragedies from happening.
Okay.
I forget what the name of it. I think it's Tomorrow's Edition was the name of the show. My mom loved it when I was a kid. If I could get Monday's edition of the newspaper, I would go right to what's the yards per carry for the Bengals offense.
Yeah, right.
And what's the yards per carry for the Steelers?
5.8
for the Steelers offense.
No. Yeah, right.
And that time of possession.
Yes.
If I could just look at the game recap on a sheet of paper on Monday morning.
Just tell me two things.
And the Steelers have 33 or 34 minutes time of possession. I really like their chances to win. If Chase Brown's
having a fun show on Monday.
If Chase Brown's yards per carry is 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, I love the Steelers' chance to win.
Yeah, I agree.
And as quite often is the case when you're playing a division foe, particularly the second time around, there's not a lot of secrets. There's not a lot of smoke and mirrors in this one.
No, I've been saying this all week. It's a weird game to preview because you just played them. Yes, there are some changes, especially to the Steelers side of things. I mean, the Steelers secondary is all new, et cetera. But you got enough of Flacco to realize he's not turning into a pumpkin. They were coming off the Green Bay game where he was new and he started slow and then he got hot. And it's like, he's got hot for 2 quarters. He's done. Don't worry about that guy. I mean, that's the Browns version, blah, blah, blah. Well, that ain't true. But the other thing is, for many reasons, I'm glad we are not Bengals employees as opposed to Steelers employees.
For many reasons.
For many, many reasons. But one of which is every one of their games is the same no matter what. It's a bazillion points scored.
Boat race.
And they usually come up short.
It comes down to who has the ball last.
Yeah.
And they don't have the ball last.
And they usually don't, and they lose. Right. Or they find a way to give up the ball last, even when they think you haven't won. Like their game against the Bears was bonkers. That was the last one they played. It's a hard one to lose. But yeah, I mean, They're awful on defense. They're extremely dangerous on offense. And that's how it goes.
It's
every week.
Cut and dry.
Yeah.
Black and white. Very
this game's
simple.
not going to be 13-10.
No, it is not. No, it is not. And, hey, I mean, I guess crazier things have happened. We could come in here on Monday and be wrong, but that would shock me.
It would be so out of character for the Bengals in particular.
Very much so. This feels like almost a race to 30 at minimum.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here. We will talk to the queen of the sideline, Missi Matthews, get all her thoughts on this important divisional clash when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, just getting started here on a Friday. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here on a Friday afternoon, getting you ready for Steelers-Bengals Sunday, 1 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium. Another AFC North clash, the second this year with Cincinnati. Joining us now to preview, it is the queen of the sidelines, Missi Matthews. Kind enough, as always, on a Friday to take some time here. Missi, thank you for doing so. And, kind of sticking with that. These divisional AFC North games are always intense. They're always physical. There's always a lot of emotions on both sidelines. But do you even notice that ratcheted up when it's the second time around that the teams meet throughout the season?
Yeah, and I think so, yes. I guess the second part of that answer would be when you don't win the first time, you want it even more for round two, right? And I think especially the way that the Steelers performed in round one, everybody kind of wants to right the ship, even the score, whatever you want to call it. And AFC North just always means more. It's why everyone says, throw the records out the window, the cliches, but it's really true. I don't think many people going into that Thursday night matchup had the Bengals winning, but such is life in the AFC North.
So, Missi, we were kind of talking in the first segment that I think you put up a red flag, a warning signal if the Steelers' offense struggles this week. I mean, the status of this Bengals defense, as you know, is terrible, and that would be starting to be a pattern.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I think even if it goes really well, you still have to say, well, we played against one of the statistically worst defenses. But I don't know. I feel good about the fact that it's a nice 1 o'clock game. You're back at home. And they know what this means because they know what it means not only for themselves, but also for the Bengals. The Bengals don't win this one. That kind of really puts them in a predicament where maybe Joe Burrow is not rushing back to join. But for the Steelers, knowing that you still have two more games with the Ravens, haven't seen them yet, one more with Cleveland, this is a huge game for both teams involved, but I think more importantly for the Steelers.
No, it certainly is, Missi. Lost 3 of the last 4. Listen, we all know these AFC North games, these AFC Conference games, when you get down to, December and all the different playoff tiebreakers and scenarios, these are very important in that regard. It's also as well, too, you've kind of got an opportunity to, Cincinnati's probably out of it at 3-6, but they haven't fully accepted that yet. If you can knock them down to 3-7, okay, that's it. But if all of a sudden they're 4-6 and just a little behind the Steelers and the Ravens, they still feel like they're in it. Like, Missi, this to me feels like one of those classic games. The weather's getting cold, the holidays are right around the corner, and it's almost in a way kind of like a elimination type game. If you're the Steelers and you fall to 5-5, you still have plenty to play for without a doubt. But this one starts to feel like where, again, that road is narrowing and kind of a 2 dogs, 1 bone type game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, I will say, I do remember the Bengals coming to Pittsburgh for Week 18, needing to win that game. The Steelers also needing to win it, maybe just for more psyche than anything, and needing help. And they did almost make their way into the playoffs. The Bengals also are 2-0 in the division right now. So, it's hard to say, but I do think whether I would like to accept it or not, there will be football weather of some sort on Sunday. But I'm cool with it if it plays into the hands of the Steelers.
So we all know Jamar Chase is a special, phenomenal player. Would it shock you if he did similar things to what he did in the first game?
No, I mean, I just think he's that guy. He reminds me of like Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm.
We were so fortunate to watch it because we were on the good side, but it did not matter what teams did. Ben always found him. He was always open somehow, some way, in various forms or fashions. And I think Chase is kind of turning out to be one of those guys. I do think the configuration of the defense with Jalen Ramsey playing safety full time, maybe that changes things a little bit, but I don't think it's like, you're going to take Jamar out of the game. I think it's you limit him as much as you physically can.
I think that's a great comparison you made there too. Like everyone remembers when AB was at the peak of his powers. He was just like Chase. He was the best receiver in the league basically. And we'd talk about on our end of, oh, yeah, he had 8 for 120 and 2 touchdowns again. Not from the opponents. We're like, how could you ever let Antonio Brown get loose? Like, because he does it every week.
Yeah. And again, like he saw every type of defensive coverage and scheme to try to take him out of a game. And it didn't matter. I mean, I felt like it wasn't the one streak that was like that everyone kind of got annoyed with. It was like 85 yards receiving per game. It was something, obscure like that, but he had it for such a long time that when he finally broke it, I feel like, the whole media was like, finally it's over. But that was just how he was. And him and Ben had that connection, and it didn't matter if, someone was hurt, tight ends, other wide receivers, running backs. Of course, when he played with Le'Veon Bell, that's another special player that was just, adding a different dimension to that roster at the time. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't stop AB. You just did your best to not let him completely wreck the game.
Missi Matthews with us here on The Drive, getting us ready, helping set the scene for all things Steelers and Cincinnati on Sunday. Missi, one of the things that we always like to ask you about is Aaron Rodgers, what you see, what you kind of feel on the sideline there. And it's been a couple straight weeks of not his best, not the offense's best. I think even with 27 points scored against Indianapolis, you heard Aaron Rodgers' tone and what he said postgame about how they had to be better. And then, obviously, what happened this past Sunday in L.A. needs no revisiting. It's all fresh in all of our minds. What's the kind of temperature, what's the gauge been like on the sideline? Do you sense any frustration boiling up, or do you think that this is something, they've got the leadership, they've got the veterans, it's just a little bump in a road, we're going to get back on track?
I mean, I feel like if there wasn't frustration, we'd all be like, what is wrong with them? Especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, that was like a bang your head against your tablet type of game in LA, because it was just like, man, I agree with Aaron. I can't remember if he said it exactly after the game or if it was when he spoke in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. It was like, you just needed one play, convert 1/3 down, have a play that's good not be called back for a penalty. It just felt like nothing could go right, and the snowball effect clearly just kept going all game to not be able to get out of that funk. So I don't think it's like, people aren't screaming and carrying on, but I think it is more like how do we fix this type deal? And Aaron is one of those really great leaders. He is up and down the bench. He's not just sitting there talking to Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach, or Arthur Smith, the OC. Talks with obviously the other quarterbacks that are there to try to help him too, but then it's talking to the offensive line, Pat Meyer. It is a collaborative effort, as you would expect it to be, but I've also seen sidelines where that's not the case. So I think at least kudos to them for that, and hopefully, a hard week of work will kind of kickstart them into the right direction, kind of similar to, after the Green Bay game, and then, you play Indy. The Seattle game wasn't great. Then you went to New England and won. So maybe this will be what they need, but I think at week 11, you need to start showing more consistency on both sides of the ball.
So at this point, everybody knows, and we've talked to no end about opposing quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands so quickly against this defense, and that's 1,000% true. They don't throw deep balls. Herbert took it to a new level this past week, but I still would be blown away if the Steelers' front and pass rush doesn't influence this game more than the first meeting.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like what we have seen from Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, obviously, you know what Cam Hayward brings. You want him to bat a pass, no problem. But I really think it's the young guys allowing then the edge guys, allowing more time for whoever's blitzing to get there. Just the secondary to solidify, since that's been nothing but, you know, changing parts. So I do agree that those guys up front are not going to let, I almost said Jamar Chase, but Chase Brown, excuse me, you know, have the type of day that he did in Cincinnati week 7.
Yeah, that is certainly a big part of, I think the underlying kind of storyline of this one is we know that both of these teams, they've got the icy hot quarterbacks, right?
Is that what they call it, the icy hot bowl the first time around?
The icy hot bowl, the Ben Gay bowl, whatever you want to call it, right? The old man ointment bowl here. But yeah, so much of it I think is going to come down to the running backs, both of whom had really good nights that Thursday. It kind of got overshadowed. Which one of these units can stop the run? Which one of these offenses can have more success on the ground, control the time of possession? And then Missi, I know that this is every single week, every single game. But even more so for the Steelers, this feels like one of the things that Matt and I keep an eye on. We don't just kind of chart turnover differential, but we like to keep an eye on sack differential and explosive play differential as well, too. And those things did not go Pittsburgh's way that Thursday night about a month ago at Paycor Stadium. They only sacked Flacco twice, once on the first drive and once at the very end of the game. And the explosive play differential was way tilted
Not even close,
in favor of the Bengals. You know, it's one thing for Jamar Chase to stack up the 6, 7, 8 yard receptions, but they've got to limit the explosives, and they've got to do a better job of making life tough on Joe Flacco than they did the first time around.
Yeah, they got to hit him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm hoping that now that you have, 4 games of film, a larger sample size, maybe they're seeing things. Obviously, he's smart like Aaron Rodgers and getting the ball out quick, but I still think that there is something the defense can certainly do to make him have to make either poor decisions or quicker decisions that turn into poor decisions, because you can't have the same thing that we saw Thursday night. But, I also go back to the DJ Turner interception that he kind of, DK caught it, but DJ Turner took it. There was just weird fluky things. And it's kind of at the point where you can't have one of those happen, because then it's like the snowball effect. So you almost need a clean game in a way for everybody to kind of right the ship is the only way I keep thinking about it. It just feels like you have to get that taste out of your mouth, knowing what your schedule is moving forward. I mean, you go to Chicago next week, it's not going to get any easier. No. I feel like you really need this one to be one of those almost morale boosting wins. Okay, we got our mojo back. We're ready to go.
Completely agree, Missi. As our dear brother Tunch Ilkin would have said, this is a pistachio type game.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Have you not heard this one?
No.
Matt? So Tunch used to have this thing, he called it the pistachio theory. He said, sometimes when you're cracking pistachios, you get a bad one.
Oh, yeah, you get that black or brown beat up one.
Leaves that funky taste in your mouth. The only way to get that taste out of your mouth is by cracking a good pistachio.
More pistachios.
Yep. And so
I love pistachios, so let's crack them.
We all do. Let's crack some Bengal skulls and crack some pistachios and get that bad taste out of our mouths heading into, like you said, Missi, what's going to be a heck of a home stretch of the season here as we get closer and closer to the holidays. The great Missi Matthews, make sure you're listening to her on the broadcast on Sunday, of course, with Rob King and Max Stark. She'll be setting the scene and painting the view from the sidelines as she does so well. Missi, thank you for the time. Take care, and we'll talk to you on Sunday.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There she goes. Missi Matthews.
Yep.
You never heard Tunch talk about the pistachio
theory before, I don't know the pistachio theory. It's a good one.
That was one of his.
Sometimes you get a dud.
That was one of his go-tos. Yep. Sometimes you get a dud,
right.
and it's not.
And it's not fun.
It's not a swig of beer that's going to change that taste. It's not a bite of a different food. It's you got the only way to
just take a sip of water and it goes away.
The only way to get the bad pistachio taste out of your mouth is with another good pistachio. And I think
that's very NFL week to week.
I think there's some of that to be said about.
You're going to play 17 games whether you like it or not. You're eating 17 pistachios whether you like it or not. The chance of getting 17 in a row that are all good.
Very low.
Yeah, right.
In fact, impossible. So yeah, I always loved that one from Tunch. I mean, those guys, they had such a way of words, but that was one of the ones that always stuck with me. The Tunch Ilk and Pistachio theory on full display, hopefully in full effect for the Steelers Sunday afternoon at home. Gonna take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll start getting into a little 5-Star Friday. We'll start getting into
I guess it's that time, huh?
Some of these matchups between the Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. And of course, in our final segment of the day today, we are going to have Steelers safety Kyle Duggar join us right here on the drive, cousin. So we'll talk to him about this high-flying Cincinnati offense and the task of slowing down those talented eligibles that will be wearing stripes on Sunday. Not the officials, the Cincinnati Bengals at Acrisure Stadium. So plenty to get to as we roll along here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here on a Friday as we close down the first hour of the show. We are going to get into a little 5-Star Friday in just a minute here, Matt. But before we do that, we did have a roster move that we kind of speculated might happen that is now official. Nothing crazy here, nothing that's going to grab the headlines. But I did just want to, make sure we're doing our due diligence and our
keep everybody in the loop.
And our housekeeping. So the Steelers did bring back Trey Sermon to the practice squad.
I'd have been shocked if he just vanished.
Made official today. They had a spot on the practice squad after Isaiah Hodgins was signed by the Giants off the Steelers practice squad earlier this week. You and I kind of speculated that this could be a situation where Sermon comes back into the fold and into the practice squad, and that's all. That's the case. He's back involved.
That's the only deal, right? Which is probably better for him than even joining another practice squad.
Sure.
Just a familiarity,
Sure.
and everything. And I just got called up. I could get called up again. He's clearly one injury away from being the next running back up, too.
Yes.
And running backs get hurt all the time.
Like they've got some level of trust and belief.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he could end up on the active roster again this year.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Wouldn't surprise us, but he is back in the fold, back on the Steelers practice squad. That was announced earlier. Late morning, early afternoon today, officially by the Steelers.
Not shocking on any level.
No, not shocking at all. And so, a decent amount of moving and shaking on that practice squad this week.
Yeah.
And certainly something.
For people that don't pay enough attention, I mean, these teams, the bottom of that roster moves a lot.
Like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we made the jokes like on Cutdown Day, like, if you're 53, brother, you better play pretty well right off the bat because you might not even make it to Tuesday.
By the time we get on air the next day, the 53 might change.
You might be gone. All right. We need a guard. You're out.
Totally. I mean, look how fast it happened for my boy Beanie Bishop.
Right.
Led the team in interceptions his rookie year. Didn't make the initial 53. Now off the practice squad. Still looking for a job around the National Football League.
In limbo and he's got a lot of NFL tape.
NFL, not for long, man.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That's the way it goes around here. And there's a lot of moving and shaking on the weekly on the bottom.
There's a lot of 5'9" slot corners to pick from,
Yes,
right.
Yes. And that's why, too, even just having one of those practice squad jobs is nothing to sneeze at, man.
No, at least you go in the office every day and you can impress a position coach and
you get an
NFL
paycheck. And
then you got a good chance to, like we always talk about, you get a good chance to come back to camp next year, and then who knows,
More on tape, more opportunity. That's all a lot of these guys are looking for. But there is a big opportunity for the Steelers to get right, to get back in the win column Sunday afternoon at home against the Bengals. What are the biggest matchups to keep an eye on that are going to determine the outcome of Sunday's clash? It's time to talk a little bit of that with Matt Williamson here on The Drive, a little segment we call 5-Star Friday.
It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it.
5-star matchup. Everybody we play is a 5-star matchup because we in it.
All right, Matt. We have done this once already for the Bengals. We have talked matchups. We're familiar with a lot of these names. It's a divisional foe that we're seeing for the second time around. Here's where I want to start with you, though, before we do get into some specifics. It's a Steelers secondary that is a little different since the last time these
Very
teams
different.
met.
It's different week to week anymore.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And while the names aren't crazy different, the roles are different.
I mean, when we're recording this Friday, we don't know what's going on with Samuel yet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I think we'd both be surprised if he played.
I've gotten people that seems to know. Half of them think, oh, he's going to play.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Half of them seem to think
see if anything
he
comes
needs a week, or
Maybe we'll ask Kyle Duggar when he joins us here.
I was actually going to. I was going to bring it up. I was going to.
Asante Samuel Jr. going to play, buddy? Peel the curtain back for us.
I wasn't going to ask it that way, but I am going to ask him, hey, how would you recommend getting on the moving train with a new team as fast as you had to? You only get 3 days. He only had a couple days with the team before
really
Duggar played.
Question,
and played
actually.
well, right?
We'll save that one for Duggar here in hour number 2. But how can a Steelers secondary? Doesn't sound like you're going to have Slay. Now
I'm going to assume they don't have Slay.
Now Ramsey.
I think I'm going to act like Pierre and Porter are your outside corner
with Eccles in the slot.
Well, maybe. Well, this team plays so much 11. We even broke down a lot of the personnel tendencies and stuff because we really did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, but it hasn't changed that much. But this team leads the league, I think, in 11 personnel, or they're right at the top.
Okay.
So you're going to see a lot of nickel. Steelers don't like to go dime. I mean, dime's becoming less and less prevalent in the league. But side note, so you're going to see a lot of nickel. I would think your corners are Pierre and Porter on the outside, and Eccles at the slot.
That would be my guess.
Ramsey and Duggar as your safeties.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, again, some of the same names, but in different roles.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the biggest change being Jalen Ramsey moving back, and
Duggar wasn't around the first time around.
And Duggar wasn't around the first time around. So it is a different safety tandem for the Pittsburgh Steelers than the one that they took to Cincinnati last month.
Mm-hmm. And as safeties go, Ramsey's elite.
Yes.
I mean, just as a coverage player.
Yes.
I mean, just purely guard, so many coordinators. If I can get Jamar Chase through the first level and on a safety deep downfield, I got him right where I want him. Well, Ramsey's different that way. Yeah.
A little bit
He's
different.
A corner, right.
So let's dig into that a little bit here. What does this reworked Steelers secondary look like against this Bengals pass game?
Yeah.
Are they in a better position? Are they in a worse position? Is it maybe just a different position?
It's definitely different.
What's that look like with a different safety tandem than the Steelers had the first time these teams met?
So just speaking safeties, I read this morning and it didn't shock me at all. But we know the Steelers prefer to be a single high team. Now, the Steelers have been drifting more and more to two high the last couple weeks with these safety changes.
Yes,
which I think is smart. But what I didn't realize was when they played the first time, it was the highest percentage of single high safety that the Bengals saw all year. Nobody does that to the Bengals.
Okay.
I mean, you're daring them to attack downfield outside the numbers, so most teams just put a lid on it, tackle the catch, etc. And that wasn't, to me, I mean, of all the problems the Steelers had against Chase especially, but Higgins and everybody, it wasn't getting beat over the top. I mean, it wasn't like the too high safety thing was, where you got exploited. Because, I mean, if you're going to exploit a single high safety, usually it's outside the numbers deep, because they can't get over.
Sure.
But that's not where Chase did his damage, or Higgins for that matter. In this one, it was across the middle. It was short stuff, run after catch, etc. But I still think you'll probably see a much higher percentage of too high than you did. I hope you see a much less percentage of blitz. I mean, because you realize
we talked about that a little bit yesterday, how it's just not been.
Flacco shows he beats the blitz now.
Yes.
And I know you'd love to hit the old guy, but I think you can get there. I just want him to pat the ball. It's the same thing we said about Daniel Jones. Just
one extra
pulse,
half second.
Yeah, one pulse longer would go a long way. And I want a lot of people in those short to intermediate zones to help. I mean, as opposed to, hey, Pierre, you got Chase. Pierre's playing well.
Yes.
And frankly, I might be more confident with Pierre than Slay at this point. I mean, I think Pierre's played better than Slay this year, smaller amount. The other thing, the Steelers have a history. It's not exclusive. Is Porter, you have Higgins, and then we'll do a lot of stuff with Chase. I don't know what to think, but I'm going to be keeping a lot of eyes on. Is that how they'll attack this week too? And basically, Joey, you have him alone. which doesn't mean that Higgins won't get balls thrown his way, but that's often a approach they've taken against the Bengals.
Yes, they have, and it's going to be interesting. Jamar Chase was, I don't know if you heard, I think it was yesterday, he was asked about Joey Porter Jr., and he said that guy's handsy,
He is.
But it's one of those things where I think eventually something has to give for the Steelers secondary against these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know how good they are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Steelers secondary, it's not like every talented wide receiver tandem comes in and lights these guys up.
No.
Just for some reason, these two, particularly when they're on the field at the same time, have been a real bugaboo for the Steelers. Like Alan Saunders, who we know he works for Pittsburgh Sports Now. He did like a breakdown that I saw him post on Twitter a few days ago this week, where the Bengals offense against the Steelers when Chase and Higgins have both been on the field, and the Bengals offense against the Steelers when just one of those guys has been missing.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a drastic difference.
I bet it's huge.
It's a drastic difference. And that makes some sense.
You take a good player off the field, you're going to be worse.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it was a very drastic, like it was
starker than it should be.
It was like without one of those guys, they struggle to score 20 points against the Steelers.
Okay, as opposed to
38 with both of those guys, they're
40
scoring in the 30s pretty much every single time. At some point, this secondary not completely put the clamps on these guys and shut them down, but I think they're almost due for a good showing against. You know them so well. There's no secrets. You know how they're going to play. You know how they're going to attack you. Go respond to
100% for sure.
Punch back a little bit.
Yeah. No, I understand all that, and I don't disagree with you. The other thing is in the first meeting, when you left Yoshivas in good coverages, Flacco was hitting them.
It's true. It wasn't just those two.
Right. I mean, but I'll be honest. I mean, if Yoshivas and Fant each have a touchdown and combine for 100 yards, we might be fine with that on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be overly concerned with those guys. Not that they're bad. It's just, I'm going to roll coverages much more to those outside studs.
Yes.
But I don't have great answers. I mean, blitz less, more zone. It's pretty clear you couldn't man up with them.
No, absolutely not.
And if you can, but I mean, don't even try.
Correct. And I think the one part of, to bring it back to some of the Asante Samuel Jr. stuff, with more zone, I think you would like to have
I would think so too.
That guy in the fold on Sunday, if possible.
If possible.
Now,
zone takes a little more communication. When do I pass him off to the next guy or whatever?
Yes.
But, I mean, I think by signing him, you kind of said, yeah, we're probably not going to play a ton of man going forward. I mean, we realize what we're at here. Slay seems better in zone now. Eccles seems better in zone. Everyone but Porter.
Matt, some news from Cincinnati here, as they have officially ruled out Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, and Samaje Perine for Sunday's game.
Okay.
So two
not
defensive
super surprising,
end pass
but
not
still.
surprising.
Perine I knew would be out.
Perine is, their clear-cut number 2 running back. That's a bit of a loss. I mean, Chase Brown
He's also like real solid in protection. And
he is.
He's a pro.
He's a good situational running back.
Yeah,
like he's an
reliable.
ideal. You were talking about this a little bit with Labs, like how the Steelers' backfield feels like it's missing a hammer.
Right.
Like he's a nice hammer to have in
He's a hammer that protects and he can catch the ball a little bit.
Good in short yardage situations, all that stuff. But no Hendrickson, no Stewart, kind of the two big-name pass rusher bookends for the Bengals. Not surprising, but now, just a few minutes ago, have officially been ruled out by Cincinnati.
And partially because of this, partially just because it's a bad defense. But I don't think there's any excuse to have a really low average depth of target. And I know that's how Rodgers wants to play. And I think a lot of people overreact just saying, Steelers can't protect. That's the only reason the ball's coming out so fast. There's ways around that. I mean, the Chargers couldn't protect. I mean, the Chargers didn't have players. I mean, I know Broderick Jones needs help. We'll help him. I mean, I'd like to see them push the ball down the field a little bit more. Attack from 10 to 20 in neighborhood a little bit more. Not just bombs away necessarily, but let's drive the ball down the field, especially on some third downs. It seems like they throw – I know you can find the numbers, and I didn't look them up, but – they sure seem to throw short of the sticks on third downs.
A lot.
Yeah. A lot.
That's one thing that I'm sure the numbers back up, and the eye test certainly does.
Yeah.
And that's been the case for just more than this year, I
it's
think.
not just a Rodgers or it's not just an Arthur Smith, but, I mean, they're always at the bottom of the league with that stuff. Right.
Matt, spinning the block here. I wanted to ask you from a Steelers offense versus a Bengals defense perspective, is the matchup to keep an eye on really DK Metcalf against DJ Turner?
I guess. I don't know that they'll follow, but Turner's definitely the guy. If you're going to avoid anyone, fine. Sort of like we just talked about with Higgins, I would imagine if Turner's on Austin, he'll be alone. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go his way, but I mean,
sure.
He's one of the few guys that can run with Austin. He was like a 4.2 guy at his combine. I mean, speed is, he's a little leaner, but he's really, really fast. Every team's doubling Metcalf. I mean, it's not even a hidden or a secret. I mean, I know you can also look up double team rates. Maybe I haven't been doing my job with my stats this week, but his has to be through the roof too.
It got to be, especially it feels like the last couple weeks
in particular. And we all know he's a good player, but he's not the best receiver in the league. He should not be the most doubled receiver in the league. Sure. And I bet he's near the top, which to me is an argument for why you need a second receiver. Not just what if Metcalf gets hurt? It's like, well, you're not getting the most out of Metcalf. You know what I mean?
I understand the argument of, wide receiver twos have never been a big fixture of Arthur Smith offenses.
Right.
I get that side of the logic, but the other side is it's almost like it's a distraction element. Like you just even if they're not going to be a big focal part of your offense, it's someone to take attention off DK Metcalf.
Off the number one.
Yes.
Like a good example would be like Atlanta. Like everyone knows London is the one. And I'm going back to, I picked them because Arthur Smith was there.
Sure.
And they went and got Mooney after Arthur Smith. But yes, everyone knows that you want to get the ball to London. But if Mooney's over there, he's not the best receiver in the world either. But it makes London's life a little easier. It's just a little bit less attention.
Even for Chase Higgins being the Chase Higgins. Even for Chase being the destroyer of worlds that he is, and the best receiver in football. Think of how much easier his life is made by T. Higgins.
Right, or Jefferson and Addison.
Addison.
Like where there's a clear gap between the two. But you got to have somebody that is going to rip up single coverage if you're going to leave him there all the time. And the Steelers don't have
so many of the times when AB was having his best year, it was when Martavis Bryant was playing well, and when Juju was playing well.
Right. When lighten my load a little.
Someone else that they got to respect, someone else that they got to keep an eye on. But yeah, I feel like this is another big one for Metcalf. It's been a few weeks since we've seen him have some of those DK Metcalf, jump off the screen type highlight plays.
Yeah,
I feel like he'll have the opportunity to do so again.
Oh, he should. I mean, he should still do well, even if he's getting a lot of extra attention. I would still not. The other thing is, we've definitely talked about this throughout the week, is because of where the offense is, I want the ball in my best player's hands and my most reliable. And to me, that's three guys. That's Warren, Metcalf, and Muth.
Yep.
I mean,
especially against the Bengals.
But right.
Muth's walking into Canton if he plays every game against Cincinnati.
Yeah. And they're terrible against tight ends. Their safety linebacker plays really, really bad. That's part of the reason. People are like, why does Freiermuth kill the Bengals? Well, because they're terrible. And tight ends are really ripping them up. But he does have quite the history. But I would simplify things a little bit and be like, I'm going to do designer plays to get the ball in those three guys' hands. I love Washington. I mean, Gainwell, Jonnu, Austin, Roman. I mean, none of them are bad. Doesn't mean they don't get any targets, but I would make the game plan more concentrated.
If you got a shooter, Matt, you draw up screens and picks and plays to get your shooter looks.
Yeah.
Let's get those offensive shooters looks.
The one thing I did see too is they're near the bottom of the league or at the bottom of the league, not necessarily in motion. So a new thing that the analytic dorks are taking to a new level lately is people are familiar with motion rate. How often do you use motion?
Yeah,
but there's a lot of different versions of motion.
Sure,
like. I'm not a coach, but like a lot of the Matt Canada motion didn't accomplish much. It was just one guy trotting
window
across
dressing.
here. And yeah, like, okay, maybe I'm getting a man look, maybe I'm zone look. Where you watch like the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is in motion at the snap. That's a big thing people are charting too, is how much motion when the ball is actually snapped.
Yep.
And the Steelers are real low in that too. Let's do some of that to manufacture. You can scheme things up for Metcalf to get open. You just have to line up at the same place and get doubled.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Set a pick, like you said. I mean, Make a basketball reference. Right.
100%.
Scheme them up.
Scheme them up, baby. Let's get it done. Hour in the books. Another hour to go. We'll continue to give some more thoughts, some more scouting on Steelers Bengals. We will obviously go around the league, run the gambit of all these games, big Week 11 across the National Football League, and we will talk to Kyle Duggar as well, too, before we get up out of here. All that and more in hour number 2. Uhler, Williamson. It's The Drive on a Friday on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here, final hour of The Drive this week as we come down the home stretch and are getting closer and closer to a big one between the Bengals and the Steelers. Big one for both teams, big one for the AFC North outlook, the entire AFC conference playoff push. We will go around the league here in a few minutes and preview and predict all of these games across the Week 11 slate here as we get closer and closer to the holidays. The road gets narrower and narrower. And we have got some big games across the NFL this weekend, and we will get to all of that in just a few minutes. But before we do that, Matt, the Steelers Friday practice report, injury report is across the timeline here, and so we've got some substantial news.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go with who's been ruled out at this point. The Steelers will be without Darius Slay. He's ruled out with the concussion.
Kind of knew that one.
Alex Highsmith ruled out with the
questionable
back injury.
one. Okay.
And Cole Holcomb ruled out. Still Sunday against the Bengals.
Okay. I mean, those are 3 guys that played a lot of snaps, and it's not a great offense to be losing dudes against.
No, it's not. And again, I think Slay we all expected.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me one bit.
I think the other 2, we were leaning a little more towards the optimistic side of things.
I was with Highsmith. I'm like, he'll be all right.
Especially, he was limited yesterday in practice. No, pardon me. He had not practiced all week.
Yeah.
And did not practice again today, so he has been ruled out.
Okay.
For Sunday, again, as has Holcomb. He was the one who was limited in practice yesterday, but did not practice today.
Gotcha.
So tough to see in that regard. Questionable for Sunday is Isaac Seumalo. Okay. He was limited.
That one was leaning towards.
He was limited
good,
with the pec injury, but is listed as questionable. And even though he has not practiced all week, Corey Trice Jr. listed as questionable as well too for Sunday.
Really?
Still hasn't practiced.
Okay. I mean, window's been open.
But yeah. So, I don't know exactly what
to make of that.
What the case is there, but yeah.
Intrigued.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Very, very, very intrigued by that one there. Certainly. I would be surprised if Corey Trice
I'd be
was
surprised
active
too. But
after being on IR,
I was kind of thinking
week.
Well, maybe next week then, or we'll see.
Maybe at least it's a good sign in that regard.
Yeah, maybe at least there's progress.
I tell you what, it would be a good week to have him back in theory.
Oh yeah,
albeit.
I mean, he hasn't played, but still.
Exactly right. Albeit you don't know how rusty he's going to be and what he's going to look like and all that. But you'd like to have as many defensive backs kind of all hands on deck.
I mean, if Samuel doesn't play and Trice doesn't play, you only have 3 corners.
It's true.
On game day.
It's true.
Which makes me lean towards Samuel's going to get a helmet. I don't know how much he'll play, but I bet he gets a helmet.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, if I were him,
one of those 2 would almost have to, right?
I would think.
At this point. Now that you mention it, it's almost a process of elimination.
Ramsey can always move back. It's a little different than other such team situations, but you can't just go with 3 corners. I mean, you're 1 injury away from not having a nickel.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Broderick Jones will play.
Okay.
No full practice participant today.
Yeah, he's over
it. With that groin, he's set to go. Green light for him, as is Scotty Miller. We mentioned that yesterday. Yeah. He had been practicing all week after missing a couple weeks with that broken finger. And Jabril Peppers as well, too.
Good.
Full participant today, cleared, good to go with that groin. No injury designation for him as well.
Okay. I'd like to see Peppers on the field.
I was just going to ask you, what would you like to see his role be on Sunday?
That's the thing. I don't know how exactly he fits in unless, and I shouldn't even throw this out there, unless Ramsey would be your slot and then Peppers and Duggar are your 2 safeties. But I think they're pretty happy and intent on not moving Ramsey.
I think they
from
like
safety,
Ramsey
right?
back there, at least, especially until Deshaun Elliott, if Deshaun Elliott gets back.
Yeah. I mean,
You want to have kind of like one veteran presence
I think
back there.
he's a safety. Yeah, I mean, unless you'd lose 2 corners on game day or something,
Yes.
So I don't know where that leaves Peppers, but I am interested.
Somebody else in that secondary is going to have to get some playing time, going to have to get some spinning.
Yeah, right.
I mean, other than the
Well,
five.
Pierre's going to play a lot,
The five
I think.
that we know.
Right.
Pierre's going to play a lot. Joey Porter Jr., obviously. Brandon Eccles, obviously.
Yeah.
The 2 safeties, the 2 starting safeties. Ramsey and soon-to-be friend of the show, Kyle Duggar.
Mm-hmm.
But after
But
that,
how about Peppers
who's
Samuel
who's 6
or
and 7?
Trace or right?
Because they're going to have to,
And
maybe
they're
not a
also
massive
special
role, but they're
teamers,
going to
too.
have to play.
And Pierre's going to be a core special teamer, even if he's a quote starter in this
That's
game.
a great point, too.
Right. There's a lot of juggling.
That's a lot of work for him.
That's
to,
a lot of
like,
work, right.
Run up and down the field with Chase and Higgins.
Right.
And
go be a gunner and then
go
play
be
defense
a gunner
against Jamar Chase. Right.
Yeah, don't love that.
Don't love that.
Don't love that. Matt, still some some designation for Joe Flacco in that right shoulder as well too. He's gonna play. I don't think I don't think that part surprises anybody. But that might be another kind of wrinkle in this one, potential fly in the ointment. How healthy is Joe Flacco really?
Yeah.
And again, can you get to him early in the first quarter? Can you make that shoulder that's feeling a little sore in November when those hits are adding up a little bit more? Can you get to him and make him uncomfortable early on?
That's what I was going to say is I'm sure he's going to play, and I'm sure he'll look great right away. But what about after you hit him 3-4 times? You got to think his chances of finishing the game are lessened.
Yes.
Or his ability to be as sharp throwing the football are lessened. I'm not looking for anyone to get hurt, but
completely agree.
Yeah, a quarterback getting hit in the shoulder, throwing shoulder that's already sore could be a problem.
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially one who's his age,
Exactly, right.
Like you said,
he's not going to elude well.
Like you said with Rodgers, there's a big difference between taking those hits and those bumps and bruises at 31 than 41.
1,000%, especially once the season gets about this point.
I feel that too, Matt, man. I'm 34 now.
Oh, yeah.
Those cross-country trips on a plane after Sunday night football and getting back home on a couple hours.
Never used to bother you one bit, I'm sure, right.
Dude, when I was 24, 25, 26, working in minor league hockey, riding on those crappy, dumpy buses all across the country, I was like, this is fine. No big deal. I'll be all right. Now it's like my sleep schedule gets thrown off once, and I'm like, oh, I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck for a week to get back on schedule. And I can't imagine what it's like for those guys. Matt, before we go to break, come back, go around the league on the other side. Again, we'll continue to tease it and remind you we will have Kyle Duggar on with us in the final segment of the show as well today. Matt, last night, Patriots take care of business 27-14, maybe a little closer than comfort. Jets hung around for a while, but man, Drake May looked the part once again.
Henderson found the end zone 3 times. Diggs got a lot of balls.
Good start to the week for my fantasy football team with Travion Henderson, baby.
I was torn between Henderson and Aaron Jones, and I went with Henderson, so that worked out quite well.
I'm glad you did. I mean, Stephon Diggs with 9 receptions and 105 yards.
Yeah.
They ran the ball effectively.
Pat's D is pretty legit, too. I mean, the Jets aren't going to win many more games.
No.
I mean, it's pretty clear.
But I'll give them credit. They played all right.
I thought they played hard.
They hung around. Like, I thought Justin Fields did all right.
Okay. I mean, his numbers weren't great, but he wasn't terrible, right?
He made enough
he's
plays.
throwing to nobody.
Accounted for 2 touchdowns. One with his arm, one on the ground. You're right. He's throwing to
Donnie Mitchell, who just got there.
Right. John Mechie.
Right. He just got there a week before
who
that.
just got there as well,
Garrett
too.
Wilson's gone. Yeah, right.
But yeah, I continue to think, man, that Patriots team, what the ultimate ceiling is, I don't know, and I don't think we will know until they get into the playoffs.
No, but they're going to the playoffs.
But they're going to the playoffs, and they're going to be dangerous. With that defense, with the way Vrabel has them playing, with the level up that Drake May has taken this year, that's a team I don't want to see in the postseason.
No, I mean, they're good on both sides of the ball. I think you got to love Vrabel as a coach, too. I mean, I think he's been a massive difference maker. I think the Patriots have a real shot at the 1 seed and getting a bye. I mean, if you look at their upcoming schedule, they're not going to be a dog very often.
No, they're not.
They got the Bills one more time, but
I was going to say they might only have 1, maybe 2 more games the rest of the way where they're not favored.
Yeah, right.
It's a good place to be in if you're the Patriots.
I'm buying them. I'm not sure that they can beat Mahomes or you know what I mean in the playoffs.
Sure,
but they could be a 14-win
Josh
team.
Allen in the playoffs,
Right. I think that's a little different beast, but they could be the 1 seed.
Man, they really
I didn't
could.
see that coming.
That's crazy to say,
Right,
but
right,
you're right. They haven't lost since they've lost to the Steelers, which that game feels like it was years ago at this point.
It does.
Man, 8 straight wins.
Is that what they're at?
I believe so. Yeah, because they were right. Yeah, Steelers.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, they said that last night. Yeah,
I believe that's the case. 8 straight wins. Man, them and the Broncos have just continued to rattle off wins. The Broncos have a tough one with the Chiefs rolling into town this weekend.
There's 3 or 4 headliner games.
Games.
We'll get to them.
And you know what? Let's do that now. Let's take a break here.
Okay.
We'll do a little bit of a beefier around the league segment when we return, and then we will close down with a conversation with Kyle Duggar and, of course, with our score predictions on Steelers Bengals. All of that still to come as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson on a Friday here. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Week 11 on tap across the National Football League this weekend, and there are some big ones, Matt. Let's jump into it. Let's comb over it. Let's go through it. Some thoughts, some predictions on each of these contests here in Week 11 as the holidays approach and the road begins to narrow. Do you remember last Wednesday, Matt, on Best of the West? Ahead of going to SoFi Stadium, I gave you my top 10 favorite stadiums I'd ever been to.
Of course.
SoFi was number 2. Do you by chance remember what was number 1? I won't blame you if you don't. I mean,
I would get it in multiple choice, but not fill in the blank.
It was the Santiago Bernabéu.
Right.
In Madrid, Spain.
I may not have got it.
In Madrid, Spain. Of course,
I knew it wasn't NFL.
The home of Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Matt, there at 9:30 our time Sunday morning.
I see what you're doing
at
here.
The Santiago Bernabéu will be the first ever NFL game in Madrid.
Is that the last 9:30 game?
I believe so.
Okay, I'm about done with that.
I want to say I think this is the last one.
I'll be right in the studio with Tom doing pregame at that point.
You will be, and so when you guys have that game on the TVs, make sure you're looking and be like, "Oh wow, Wes was right. That place looks pretty sick, man."
Nice.
Miami there is the host team for the first ever NFL regular season game in Spain. They host the Washington Commanders. Sorry, Madrid, not sending our best and our brightest.
No, it's not.
But
you don't even get Daniels or,
Yeah, it's a beat-up roster for both of the teams as well, too. Miami 2.5-point favorites.
It's amazing that they're starting to become favorites and respected, but I'm kind of on board. I mean, I think he might save his job.
I don't think they're a pushover. They move the football. They got weapons. They're fast. I think Washington's in a terrible spot. I'll take the Dolphins minus the points. I think it is already late for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
A letdown of a season after what they did last year. They don't have their young, promising superstar quarterback.
They're in a real bind, big picture, too. I mean, they're old.
I know I've told you this joke before, but Moats would always make all right, team, Cancun on 3. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. When you get to that point in the season where everyone's making their travel plans and looking forward to January.
In that neighborhood. More so than Miami is.
Definitely more so than Miami. I think the Commanders are in vacation planning mode and just kind of crawling to the finish line of the season.
Didn't go as planned at all.
I think Miami minus 2.5. I might even take that number if it was more like 4.5, 5.5.
Wow.
I think the Dolphins are feeling good about themselves. They've got a little momentum. They're the host team, and so I think they'll want to show well over there in Spain. I like the Dolphins to win and cover.
Washington used to be like the best running team in the league, and they still can run the ball reasonably well, but Miami's run defense got a lot better too.
Yes, it did.
They're not great with
their defense isn't bad, honestly.
It's not as bad as you think. Yeah.
Must be that Minka Fitzpatrick guy on the back end. Into the 1 o'clock slate. Division rivalry here is Atlanta hosts Carolina. Now, remember, Matt, last time these teams played about a month ago.
These are like the 2 most unpredictable teams in the league.
Maybe the 2 most unpredictable teams in the league. Dolphins might be high on that list, too.
Right.
Carolina smacked Atlanta around at home. 30-0, I think, was the final score, like 5-6 weeks ago when these teams met. Now they're at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, another one of my favorite stadiums in the league. The Falcons, a 3.5-point favorite at home.
I'm going with Atlanta. I don't feel strong about it. There's a couple games I feel real strong about. We'll get to them, some of the bigger ones, but I just don't know what you're going to get from Carolina. They usually run the ball on everybody, and I would think that they have success on the ground. But I also think Atlanta's just more talented. A guy I wanted to highlight is Jalen Walker, their first-round pick, the edge out of Georgia. He's really good.
Starting to come on a little bit.
Yeah, he's really good. He's going to be a really good player. I'm not big on Pierce, the other guy, but I think Walker's going to be a star.
It's been a long time since they've had a defensive star there, particularly one rushing the quarterback.
Gets sacks, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll reluctantly take the Falcons and lay the points.
I wish that number was a little lower, more like 1.5, 2.5. But I'm with you. I think Atlanta wants some revenge. I think Atlanta has been much better at home this season than they've been on the road. And that loss for Carolina last week to drop them to 5-5 was tough. They might be another one of those. They were kind of gripping the rope and staying in it for a while, but is there too much oil on that rope now, and they're about to lose their grip on any meaningful games?
They should be really looking towards tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. One of these certainly 5-star matchups to keep an eye on this weekend, Matt, happens in Buffalo, where all of a sudden Tampa Bay's looking for a win, and Buffalo's really looking for some wins to keep pace with the Patriots. At Highmark Stadium, I think this is only one of 2 1:00 kickoffs there this year for the Bills. With all so many of their games being in prime time. I'm pretty sure they only have 2 home 1:00 games all season. This is one of them. And the Bills are 5.5-point favorites at home against Baker and the Bucs.
I think that number's too big.
Same.
I feel really strong about this one. Yeah. They run the ball extremely well, the Bills. But Tampa's run defense with Vita Vea in the middle is really, really good. I think these teams are both on like the same tier. You know, if I were to tier it, I think they're both tier 2 teams right now. No Godwin, no Bucky Irving. Sounds like they're close. They might be next week. But they still have enough on offense. I think they keep this close.
I do too. This feels to me like this Buffalo Bills team has done this a couple times this year where they're all of a sudden in a tight spot and they find a way to get it done and get a result. But 5.5 is a pretty big number against
a big number
against an offense like the Bucs. I think Buffalo wins, but I'll take the points. And this might definitely be one of those, Matt. You and I talk about this sometimes. That like I would try and tease this and maybe even get it up to 6.5, 7, 7.5, and then I think you'd really be feeling good about Tampa.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think.
But I still like 5.5.
There's 3 or 4 games that are headliner types that I think the dog might has just as good a chance to win as the favorite, and this is one of them. So if you're going to give me 5.5, I'm very comfortable with that.
I think I know what a couple of the other matchups are that you might be talking about, but we will get to those. And just there's some good ones this weekend. As we continue to roll along here, this might not be one of them, but it's very important for Houston. In Nashville, at Tennessee, Nissan Stadium, Music City, USA. The Texans 5.5-point favorites on the road, despite no C.J. Stroud for the second straight week.
They won last week without him.
They did
against the Jags,
against a better team, albeit at home, but against a better team.
I still think that number's too low too. Houston's defense is maybe the best in the league.
They might frustrate the heck out of Cam Ward and company.
I could see 6, 7, 8 sacks. I like Ward, but he just has so much around him. I'll definitely take Houston here. Mills isn't horrible either.
No, he's not. Yeah, right. He's a competent backup.
He'll be in the league for 8 more years and retire a multi-millionaire.
Make a decent living for himself.
Yeah.
Matt, a big one in the NFC North, a big one in the NFC wild card picture as the Vikings host the Bears.
Yeah, this is a big game.
The upstart Chicago Bears and a Vikings team that is kind of at that crossroads of if you win, you still got plenty to play for. If you lose, you're really going to be trying to dig yourself out of a hole. Really hurt them.
In that division, you're clearly 4th.
And as you and I have talked about, the NFC feels loaded.
Yes.
Feels like there's going to be at least one good team that gets left out of the playoff picture in the NFC. Minnesota 2.5-point favorites at home.
I think the Bears win it straight out.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the ones I felt really good about. Like, I think the Bears are playing better. I think they have the better quarterback. Maybe equal coaching at this point, which is a compliment to both sides. I mean, they're both really well-coached teams. I think the Bears are pretty decent. We're going to dig into them in a week, and I think there's going to be some things like, ooh, they're doing some good things.
They've won 5 of their last 6. That lone loss was a close one in Baltimore where
they take the ball away a lot.
They lost to the Ravens. Their defense gives up a lot of yardage, but they take the ball away a lot. To me, this comes down to, can Flores find a way to frustrate and confuse Caleb Williams? You know what, though?
He's getting better and better with that stuff. He's taking a lot fewer sacks.
He's getting better and better with that stuff, and I feel like this Vikings defense has successfully frustrated and confused its opponents less and less and less throughout the season.
I would think the same thing. It's like, it's good, but
it's not what it was last year.
I think Flores is a great coach, but there's some smoke and mirrors involved there, and eventually you just need to win one-on-one matchups more. And they just don't have great players. Like, I remember we previewed Steelers-Vikes. I'm like, boy, the Vikings D might be better than the Steelers, but I'm not sure how many Vikings would start for the Steelers.
Harrison Smith?
3. Who knows, right?
I am with you. I don't love this one because, again, if Minnesota would have put in a solid performance, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Bears take a little bit of a step back on the road, divisional foe, wouldn't surprise me at all. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm with you. I'm leaning towards give me the Bears plus 2.5 as well. Another one. Tease it up to 3.5 or 4.5. I really like Chicago.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, yeah.
The G-Men, the Giants at MetLife hosting the Green Bay Packers, who are looking to get back in the win column.
Jameis Winston.
J-Mo,
always makes it fun, man.
Eat a W. Wait, hold on. Everybody check. Is there any potential for snow in New Jersey this Sunday? Could Jameis Winston have himself a second snowball? The Packers 6.5-point favorites at MetLife.
I don't feel strong one way or another about that with the line. I bet the Packers win, but they're hard to kind of count on right now.
Especially against quote-unquote bad teams.
Yeah, I know.
It's like they show up against the good teams. They lay duds against the teams they should beat.
I'll take the points at home. I think Winston gives every team a shot in the arm. People love him.
They do love him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of wears thin after a while, but everyone loves him.
I think I'm going to lay the points with Green Bay.
Okay.
Don't love it because they got to win by a touchdown, and you could see a last-minute kind of backdoor cover for the Giants, but I'm not putting my faith in either of the New York teams to do anything at this point. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville hosting the Chargers. Matt, stop me if I've said this already, but another big one for playoff implications this Sunday. There's 4 or 5 of these with massive playoff implications.
So I mentioned this on other airwaves. I don't think I did yesterday, but listen to Aaron Schatz, who is the godfather of football analytics and used to be Football Outsiders. So this is the most instrumental.
Yes,
the biggest swing. Okay, I did mention yesterday.
In terms of winner and loser and their playoff probability.
How big the swings go if it was a win and a loss.
Yes.
Like the Jags would really be in trouble with a loss. Chargers, after beating the Steelers, would have 2 really good AFC wins.
They'd almost be a lock with a win.
They'd be really set. Win all your tiebreakers against who you're fighting with wild card spots.
8-3 and would have a lot of tiebreakers.
I'm torn on this one.
Chargers 2.5-point favorites in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I originally was feeling really strong about Jacksonville just because I think that Charger O-line, I mean, Herbert got hit every time he threw, and the ball came out of his hands in 2.2. I mean, but I also have a lot more respect for the Chargers' defense. I have less respect for their O-line and more respect for their defense after watching them play the Steelers intently. And some people are already talking about Chargers D coordinator getting a head job. I mean, like he's doing a great stuff. I'll take the points at home for a desperate Jags team. But my hesitation is I've been a Lawrence supporter for a long time.
You've held on to that stock longer than most.
That limb's getting pretty weak.
Starting to become like Bitcoin at this point.
And I'm such a Herbert fan. I mean, they've clearly the better quarterback. But I'm going to take the Jags and the points at home.
Your 2 biggest crushes are Herbert and May.
Yeah, they're pretty high on the list.
I'm worried about Jacksonville. Like, all their wide receivers are beat up.
It's a mess, yeah.
I mean, their top 3 wide receivers are either hurt or out.
They're
like on IR or
Jacoby
questionable.
Myers and Parker Washington.
Yeah, Parker Washington's banged up now, too.
Oh, is it?
Robinson's banged up. Hunter's out. I feel like the Chargers, we talk a lot about how the Seattle Seahawks make these trips across the coast for the 1 o'clock games, which are typically doomsday for West Coast teams.
Yeah.
And they always end up winning. I feel like the Chargers are kind of the stereotype. They come across the coast for these 1 o'clock games, and they always end up losing, I feel like. Having said that, I don't know. I feel like the Chargers are onto something. I feel like despite their ragtag offensive line, they continue to find ways to win. They continue to find ways to run the football. I got some faith that defense is going to frustrate Trevor Lawrence and company. I think I'm going to lay the points with L.A.
Okay.
But I don't like it.
I can see both sides.
I don't like this one, and I don't like the Minnesota-Chicago one.
I love the Chicago one.
Matt, I know you're going to love this matchup. 4 o'clock game, a huge one, again, for divisional and playoff implications between maybe the 2 best teams in the NFL at the moment.
I think the 4 best teams in the NFL are playing each other this game. in this week.
Rams,
this is
Seahawks,
yeah,
and Eagles, Lions.
Yeah, they're my tier 1 teams right now in the league.
Seattle goes to L.A., SoFi Stadium, scene of the crime last Sunday night for the Steelers. The Rams, a 3.5-point favorite at home against the Seahawks.
I also think the winner is probably the MVP leader in the clubhouse, too. I mean, people don't look at Darnold in that light, but they should.
They absolutely should.
Right now, my vote would be Stafford if I had a vote.
I think Drake May's starting to really make some headway in that conversation, too.
And I wouldn't forget about Mahomes, by the way. I bet his odds have gotten a little better, but just throwing that out there. Seattle's also way better. And the only thing you can complain about with the Rams, their special teams aren't great. And Seattle's like best in the league.
They just changed their kicker, the Rams, right?
Did they?
Last week, I think.
Doesn't shock me. I know that everything's been in flux. This is another one where I am very confident to take the points. I'm not saying Seattle's going to win, but I think that I give them
You're giving them more than a field goal, you're going to take it.
Yeah, I give them like a 49% chance to win, kind of like I did Bears-Vikes. So if you're going to give me points, sign me up.
Matt, if you're going to give me Seattle points on the road, I'm going to take them every time.
Yeah, on the road too, right?
All the Seahawks have
so
done
good
over
at
the
it, right?
last handful of years is win road games.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's Carroll or McDonald coaching. Doesn't matter if it's Geno or if it's Darnold at quarterback.
West Coast or East Coast.
All they do is win road games.
Florida, right?
The last couple of years that this Seattle team has the secret sauce for winning on the road. You're going to give me Seattle more than a field goal on the road? Yeah. I'm taking the Seahawks plus 3.5. Another one of those games where nothing would surprise me.
No.
The Rams might be the best team in the NFL.
They would be my vote right now for number 1, but it's neck and neck.
It'll also probably be one of those bowl game type 50-50 atmospheres there. I'm sure there's
going
to be a lot of Seahawks fans.
Oh, I'm sure.
In Arizona, Matt, the Niners look to get back on track and kind of hang around the divisional and the wild card playoff conversation despite the just laundry list of injuries they've had this year.
Arizona's got a ton of injuries right now.
Arizona's got a ton of injuries, too. In Glendale at State Farm Stadium there, Arizona, a 2.5-point underdog at home. The Niners laying 2.5.
I'll take the Niners.
I
just think Shanahan has – I mean, we obviously know he's a good coach. He's won a lot of games in this league. But this year more than ever – I just trust him to deal with the injuries better, like minimize the weaknesses that are created.
He's done a great job of it so far.
I don't know Arizona can do that. Their staff and Brissett's going to kind of turn into a pumpkin too,
Yes.
We might get Purdy in this game.
We very well could. That is something to keep an eye on. I think this will be a battle for San Francisco, but I think they'll find a way to get it done in the end. In Cleveland, Matt, the lowest over-under of the week as the Baltimore Ravens head to Cleveland. What's funny is remember last week we had so many double-digit spreads. There was like 10.5, 12.5, 14.5.
Even last night was a huge one, right?
Biggest spread of Sunday is Baltimore, 7.5-point favorites. That's it.
That's number 1.
That's the only more than a touchdown favorite. Green Bay 6.5, but this is the only one that's like even close, really. Baltimore 7.5-point favorites, a 4:25 kickoff in Cleveland.
I don't feel great about it, but I'll take the points. I mean,
might lean that way too.
Really? I just think the Browns D is very, very legit. At home, I still have some questions about the Ravens. Like, I was asked today, are the Ravens back? I'm like, well, I picked them to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're back to, like, the best team in the league.
Yeah.
I think they're back to being way better than they've been all year.
Way better than they looked in September and October.
Exactly, yes. Formidable, a playoff caliber team. But if I were to repick, I wouldn't pick them as the best team in the league. They still showed a lot of warts early in the season. D-line, O-line, that's questionable.
Weather in Cleveland looks okay. That's always something you got to keep an eye on this time of year. Small chance of precipitation, going to be like 38 degrees, so cold but not freezing.
Lamar's off the injury report, by the way, too. That was just like a one-day blip or whatever.
Hey, 25-mile-an-hour winds, though, expected during kickoff in Cleveland.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm leaning towards taking the points as well, too. I think Baltimore wins, but I don't think they blow them out. I think the Browns keep it tight. That's what the Browns have done against good teams this year.
Yeah, I think Judkins can run a little bit, and
I think I will take the 7, but this might be another one that I would try and put part of a teaser and maybe get it up to 9.5 instead of 7.5. Matt, 2 more to get to, and they are 2 more 5-star.
These are great ones. Yeah,
this is one of those Sundays. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna be jacked up and be excited to be at Acrisure Stadium. But this is one of those Sundays I wish I could just order pizza. And that I wish
what
I
I'm
was
gonna
just
do.
a civilian.
That's what.
I wish I was just a muggle. I say that to my wife all the time. You get the Harry Potter reference there. No?
I've never seen 1 minute of Harry Potter, and I probably
Wizards call non-wizards muggles.
Oh, okay.
Like basic people who don't know magic.
like civilians.
Civilian. I wish
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
a muggle on Sunday and could just sit there with my feet up and order some pizza and order some wings.
I'm gonna do that, and I'm not a muggle or whatever. you want to call it.
You just rub it in, you big jerk. 425 in Denver, Mile High Stadium. Broncos looking to really keep a stranglehold on the AFC West. Chiefs looking to not go 500 and get back in the win column. Kansas City, despite an 8-game win streak and home advantage for Denver, Kansas City a 3.5-point favorite.
Ooh, last I saw it was 2.5, and I was pretty excited about that. 3.5 with that defense might change my mind. I mean, that's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. I'm still going with Kansas City. Andy Reid off a bye. I think this isn't exactly analytical, but this is probably the first time in 5 years that Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones, Spagnuolo have actually had to worry about how the regular season might go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and frankly, I think they're better this year than they were last year, and they were like 15-2 last year, and they're 1 game over 500 now.
They were really 15-1 in the games that they tried to win last year because their second loss was the last week of the season against the Broncos when they rested
Carson Wentz
all their
started,
starters.
and yeah. I know Denver's hard
It's
to
nuts.
play, but they've done it. Denver's
Listen,
D's good, but they don't have Surtain.
You and I talked a little about Big Crossroads Sunday for a lot of these teams, a lot of these games, a lot of these divisional races. To me, the Chiefs exemplify that.
Yeah.
It's put up or shut up time.
Oh, yeah. It can't be like, oh, we'll just turn it on. Right. You're 5-4 and
Do you wanna know
third place in your division.
You want to know something crazy right now? They're 5-4 in third place in their division. Do you want to know who the betting favorite in that division still is?
Oh, I know it's Chiefs.
You want to know who the Super Bowl betting odds favorite still is?
In the AFC is the Chiefs.
And overall,
Oh, is it overall?
slightly
I didn't know if it was
slightly better than the Eagles and the Rams.
Yeah.
So if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you're still favored to win your division and you're favored to win the Super Bowl, you can't fall to 5. Like, eventually the results start to matter.
I gotta say, a loss here.
This is
it's the first time you're scared for 5 years. You might
do you
not make
remember
the playoffs.
do you remember like 2 weeks ago when I was laughing? I mentioned it on the show for like 90 seconds when Lane Kiffin was like, we should just let Las Vegas pick the 12 teams for the college football playoff because their lines are always so good and they know this stuff so well.
Right.
Why don't we just let Vegas? And I was like, oh yeah, tell that to James Franklin and Penn State, who lost back-to-back weeks, is 3 touchdown favorites. We should really just let Vegas. This is one of those moments. Vegas is almost always right. I've been to Vegas many times. I see the big buildings, the casinos, the
they're
money.
doing okay.
The perception of the Chiefs needs to change if they fall to 5-5. I'm sorry. The games matter.
Yeah.
The results matter.
With a loss, yes.
But if they go into 8-2 Denver, Mile High Stadium, crazy environment, good Broncos team, great Broncos defense, then I'm starting to be like, okay, maybe they can just turn the switch on and they're going to be all right. This is a real big narrative game for Kansas City.
1,000%. But if I were to ask you who's your pick in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl this year, today, Friday, would it be the Chiefs? I think that'd be mine. I don't know if to win it all, but I
think it says more about how I feel about the Colts and the Broncos and the Patriots
That's the
that
thing,
I
right.
don't trust any of them to go to the Super Bowl.
Like Kansas City could go into New England in the AFC Championship game and be favored by 10 points.
Okay, so if you ask me that question right now, again, if I have to put a chip on one team, it would be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
If they lose Sunday,
Then I'm taking
changing
the
that
chip
answer.
off, right, yeah.
But I'll also tell you this right now, too, and this might be a little bit of a cop-out, but you can tell me if this is fair or not. If you're giving me the Chiefs or the field in the AFC, this is the first time in 7 or 8 years that I'm taking the field.
I'm definitely taking the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last, but certainly not least here, Matt, Detroit in Philadelphia. Good Sunday night. This is good.
No,
I'll be home in time to pizza and wings and be a muggle and enjoy myself for this one. Detroit in Philly. The Eagles, 2.5-point favorites. This could be a NFC Championship preview.
It could. Both these teams are really, really good. They're also my tier 1. I like how the Eagles defense is playing. The Lions, with the Campbell taking over as a play caller, gave them a jolt. They got the ball like in Gibbs and Jamison Williams' hands more. They're electric, fast playmaker types. And frankly, I would take the home team in this game. Both those places are hard to play. You're very familiar with teams going in the Eagles on a night game. It's not going to be fun. And the spread's not enough for me to go away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm taking the home team, and it's not quite enough for me to give it to the Lions. But that's
You're
not
right. If
one
it
I
was
feel
3.5 or
super
4.5, you'd be like, give me the Lions. I want the points.
Yeah. I'd take 3.5 of the Lions anywhere against anybody.
I think I'm going to lay the points with the Eagles as well. I think I'm with you on that just because, much like the Chiefs, like I'm going to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think the Lions have earned a lot of that too. But
sure.
Philly, especially at home, man, it is tough to go in there and win. Sunday night environment. Those people are going to be all jacked up on cheesesteaks and cheap beers. And I think it'll be a great game. I think Philly pulls it out in the end.
I do too.
Matt, there is our Week 11 slate, man. You said it, and you were correct. That is a great – I mean, there are like 5 or 6 almost must-watch games in there, including Steelers and Bengals. On the other side, we're going to talk to newest safety of your Pittsburgh Steelers, Kyle Duggar, and we are also going to give our prediction for what we think will happen in Steelers-Bengals. All of that and more as we wrap this thing up when we return with a special guest – Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here on a Friday, getting ready for a big AFC North clash between the Bengals and the Steelers at home Sunday at 1 o'clock. Joining us now, a new member of the Steelers secondary, of course, safety Kyle Duggar. Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time, and I imagine these last couple weeks have been a little bit of a whirlwind for you.
No doubt, and I wouldn't say whirlwind. It's just been a lot of work. Definitely, foot has been on the pedal.
So, Kyle, I'm curious. There's another newer member, Asante Samuel, of the secondary, and I have no idea if he's going to play or not, and I'm not asking you any inside scoop on that. But if he were to play, he's kind of in the same situation as you were, not many days to prepare for the new team. What would you recommend to him, to make that transition a little easier?
Just a lot of film, a lot of being in the playbook, spending a lot of time with the coaches, and just kind of making the most of every second up until game day as far as studying.
That game had to be a lot to digest for you, doing it live.
It was fun. I'll say that.
Well, Kyle, I got to imagine too, like to use a Mike Tomlinism, you did a great job of hopping on the moving train Colts week and getting ingrained with everything you were being asked to do. Is that maybe a little bit easier when you've got a veteran coach like Mike Tomlin, a defense that is, also full of experienced veterans like TJ and Cam and Ramsey and Slay? Did that at least make things a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier on your end?
Most definitely. Those guys specifically in that situation, obviously making plays all around me, and the communication was huge. They were, they obviously knew the situation, and were making sure that we were communicating every snap and just flowing as a defense.
So I know you and Jabril Peppers haven't been on the field together as a Steeler yet, but I would imagine coming from one system and helping you translate it into this system that Peppers has been a useful guy from you coming from New England, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
He's been like a personal translator. He's making it out, simplifying everything for me.
Kyle, obviously it's not a simple task for you guys this Sunday against one of the NFL's high-flying offense, veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco, maybe the best receiver in the NFL in Jamar Chase, and another incredible one in T. Higgins. What's kind of the task at hand to slow down this Bengals offense that's been putting up a lot of yards, putting up a lot of points the last few weeks?
I would say making them one-dimensional is definitely a task and a goal. Stopping the run, and then just executing our defenses and winning our 111. But definitely making them one-dimensional will make things easier.
Kyle, my last question for you is, you were drafted by Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah.
Obviously one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. Like, what kind of influence did he have on you early in your career? And I'm sure you learned a lot. And, what did he preach to you guys?
Discipline. He was big on discipline, and he had a really a different kind of an understanding as far as defenses go. And so he kind of was super focused on taking away what, opposing teams do best. And as a safety, I was, pre-snap looks, disguises, and things like that.
Okay.
Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time. We know it's a busy time of the year for you guys on game day here on a Friday. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time, and go give them hell on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. There he goes. Kyle Duggar, the newest. Well, I guess I can't say that
Not
anymore.
the newest.
Asante
No.
Samuel Jr. is now technically the newest member, although maybe until he's officially activated
On
to
the
the
roster,
53.
yeah.
Maybe we can continue to get away with it. But thanks to Micaiah and everybody at Steelers PR for setting that up for us, and for Kyle for taking some time there at a busy time in the week. For those guys, certainly a big opportunity for him and for that secondary on Sunday, Matt.
Yeah, huge challenge too.
Huge challenge against the Bengals at home, 1 o'clock, the rematch in this Cincinnati-Pittsburgh rivalry where the Steelers are 5.5-point favorites at home, Matt. What's your prediction for this one? How does it play out? That's a pretty big number.
I picked my number before I knew the line, but it's basically right on there. I have the Steelers winning 35-30, so I guess not covering. I didn't give the line any thought, to be honest with you.
Close to covering, but right there.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to proud organization, proud quarterback that didn't show their best, that should rebound well at home. As Missi mentioned, and 1 o'clock at home, normalcy, I think, goes a long way. And in the end, I'll be blown away if the Bengals defense makes more splash plays than the Steelers defense. And that was, to me, that was the difference in the game. Neither defense stopped anybody in that game, as all Bengals games are. But one side had splash and the other side didn't. And I think 3 out of 4 times, that side would be the Steelers, not the Bengals. Maybe 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully Cincinnati got away with it the one time at Paycor Stadium a few weeks ago. But the Steelers will get their vengeance. Pardon me. Matt, I have the Steelers winning, but not covering as well.
Okay.
30-27.
All right.
Is what I'm going to go with. So
that's like a low-scoring game for the
for
Bengals.
these two, it is. It is. You know what, though? The over-under 49.5 is not massive.
Is that it?
That's not massive.
I would have guessed it's like 57.
Mid-50s.
Yeah.
Would have been my guess. Yeah, absolutely. So Matt and I both taking the Steelers to win, get back in the win column, get to 6-4, and set up what would be a fun trip to the Windy City between the Steelers and the Bears next weekend. But that will do it for us today, Matt. So thanks to, we got a couple people to thank today. Missi Matthews for joining us. Kyle Duggar for joining us. Again, big thanks to Micaiah from Steelers PR for setting that one up for us. And, of course, Mr. TV, Tyler V., our YouTube producer, for keeping us nice and crisp, nice and handsome on the video side of things. Nathan here hanging out and training in the studio today. And each and every one of you who listen to us and tweet us and hang out with us throughout the week. We always appreciate it. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Win, lose, or draw, Matt. We'll be back here on Monday, as always, to break it all down. You know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.